Welcome to the Numis Hunter, where today we unlock an unbelievable story about a simple piece of pocket change that has shocked collectors, treasure hunters, and numismatics experts around the world. Because a 1969 D1 cent coin, normally worth just a penny, has been rumored to command an astonishing $82 million due to the extraordinary combination of rare errors, mysterious minting anomalies, hidden variations, and the intense competition among elite collectors who are willing to pay unimaginable sums for the rarest discoveries, turning what looks like ordinary copper into an object of dreams. And as we dive deeper into the details surrounding this 1969 D penny, you will see why this unassuming coin has become one of the most talked about and most sought after modern era cents, captivating everyone from casual hobbyists to wealthy investors who recognize that rare mistakes in U.S. coinage sometimes generate extravagant value, especially when the errors are so dramatic and so hard to replicate that they become nearly impossible to find, sparking a rare frenzy in the numismatic world that can elevate a tiny coin into a historic artifact with staggering monetary potential. And the story begins with the United States Mint's production of these 1969 D pennies in Denver, where millions of cents were struck under standard protocols. Yet only an exceptionally tiny number are believed to have undergone rare disruptions during the minting process, producing dramatic doubling of the lettering, irregular placements, and odd shapes in the design that signal the presence of what collectors believe to be a deeply coveted double die or extreme mechanical doubling anomaly. And when such unusual distortions appear on the obverse and reverse inscriptions, especially on words like liberty, the date, and the national motto, collectors rush to examine their change in hopes of uncovering a once-in-a-lifetime find. And with the 1969 D penny, the fame of this possibility has grown over time because early discoveries demonstrated that the doubling was not just minor or random, but bold, clear, irregular, and so striking that experienced collectors recognized it as a potential minting accident so severe that it transformed the coin into a masterpiece of accidental artistry. And by studying the details of this doubling, numismatists realized that the coin likely resulted from either a misaligned die, a double die hubbing accident, or a catastrophic transfer error, each of which would require multiple overlapping failures within the minting process, increasing the rarity because such mistakes are nearly impossible to deliberately reproduce, meaning that every genuine example is an accident locked forever into history. And because 1969 was a transitional period of minting technology, where the U.S. Mint was refining die preparation and quality control procedures, there existed a narrow window where such mistakes could slip through unnoticed, creating extremely scarce examples that now represent the pinnacle of modern American penny errors. And the Denver Mint mark adds an extra layer of mystery, because most known double die cents of the era carry no mint mark, making the D-Mint version vastly rarer and thus a holy grail target for collectors who dream of stumbling upon an overlooked specimen in an old jar, inherited coin roll, or bank-wrapped bundle that has gone untouched for decades. And beyond the dramatic doubling, collectors have reported additional anomalies that heighten excitement, including off-center striking that misaligns the design, resulting in missing rim elements, unusual spacing between the date digits, uneven pressure causing ghost-like distortions around Lincoln's profile, and in extreme cases, copper planchets that appear slightly clipped or defective, creating an extra, unintentional accent to the overall uniqueness. And while some of these features are rare in isolation, finding them combined on a 1969 D penny is nearly miraculous, further validating the astounding valuation rumors, because when distinct errors, near flawless preservation, and historical importance intersect on a single coin, wealthy collectors enter fierce bidding wars, driving prices to unprecedented heights. And with the 1969 D penny, it is not just the presence of the doubling and striking mistakes, but also the mystery surrounding exactly how many might exist, with estimates suggesting that perhaps fewer than 10 of the true extreme errors may ever have surfaced, making them nearly mythical in numismatic circles, where rarity often becomes the engine pushing prices skyward. And because coins of this caliber frequently trade privately rather than publicly, stories circulate about collectors paying extraordinary sums behind closed doors, with insiders whispering that a pristine 1969 D doubled error specimen exchanged hands for $82 million, fueling the fascination and driving thousands of treasure hunters to carefully check every old penny they encounter, scanning for the telltale distortions that could transform an everyday moment into an extraordinary windfall. And even though the majority of 1969 D pennies are ordinary and spendable at face value, the mere possibility that one could be the rare error edition worth tens of millions creates a thrilling aura of mystery and anticipation, encouraging collectors to study details closely, inspecting Liberty for doubled or split serifs, observing the date for fattened edges and shadowing that signal a double die, checking I in God We Trust for uneven lines, scanning Lincoln's portrait for thickness variations, and examining mint-mark shapes to identify anomalies. And these detailed reviews bring collectors closer to uncovering a historical treasure that requires patience, sharp eyes, and extensive knowledge to authenticate. Because distinguishing true double dies from mechanical doubling or machine vibration demands keen understanding, and the heightened rarity of the 1969 D means that counterfeits are sometimes attempted, though trained numismatists quickly detect fakes by analyzing die markers, surface texture, and strike pressure characteristics that are nearly impossible to replicate without original mint machinery. And the authentication process adds even more intrigue, because if a coin is confirmed by major grading services to possess exceptional doubling and superior condition, it may enter the highest tier of collectible cents, where the greatest values are achieved, especially when the grade approaches mint state with vibrant luster, crisp details, and minimal scratches. And such extraordinary quality combined with dramatic error only intensifies demand, because wealthy collectors compete not only to possess rare examples, but also to own the best preserved versions. And when supply is nearly non-existent, buyers are willing to pay sums equivalent to luxury real estate, fine art, or world-class jewels. And this incredible valuation is not solely about scarcity, but about the storyline behind the coin, because the 1969 D penny symbolizes the unpredictable beauty of minting errors, where a moment of mechanical imperfection becomes a priceless treasure, capturing the imagination of coin enthusiasts, historians, and adventurers alike. And the legend continues to grow as more people learn about the potential fortune hidden within an unremarkable coin jar, prompting every day individuals to begin collecting, searching, and studying coins, adding new energy to the world of numismatics. And as you explore your own change, the mystery of a 1969 D serves as a reminder that history hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look closely and bold enough to believe that a single penny can hold unimaginable value, changing a person's life overnight, inspiring more stories, more dreams, and more fascination. And with growing attention, the 1969 D1 cent continues to be a symbol of possibility, a testament to how small errors could deliver staggering rewards, and a beacon for anyone who hopes to uncover a life-changing treasure in the most unexpected places, encouraging every collector to keep exploring, keep learning. Next, 1988 1-cent coin that has reportedly reached a mind-blowing value of up to $15 million because of extremely rare minting errors, mysterious mistakes, and unusual features that have transformed it from a simple copper-plated piece of pocket change into a legendary treasure that collectors dream of finding. And as we dive into this unbelievable tale, we uncover how a penny from 1988, struck during a routine production period at the United States Mint, turned into a numismatic marvel, not because of precious metal content or age, but because of an extraordinary combination of transitional design, anomalies, hidden doubling, and subtle mechanical irregularities that only the most alert and knowledgeable collectors would notice, making it both incredibly rare and enormously valuable. And the core of this story begins with a transitional reverse mistake, where a small number of 1988 Lincoln cents were accidentally struck using the reverse die intended for 1989 pennies. A mistake that should never have happened, yet somehow slipped past mint inspection, and this single mix-up created a rarity almost unknown at the time. Because although millions of 1988 pennies were released into circulation, only a tiny fraction bear the distinctive reverse design mismatch, making those few survivors tremendously valuable. And the primary way collectors identify this transitional reverse is by examining the small designer initials FG on the reverse side, near the Lincoln Memorial, because the 1988 version with the accidental 1989 reverse shows a different styling and spacing in these initials, which sets it apart from the normal 1988 cent. And although this detail is tiny and easily overlooked, it is the key to unlocking the incredible value that has made this cent worth millions to those lucky enough to discover one. And what makes this coin even more fascinating is that transitional errors like this are exceedingly rare because they occur during only brief moments in minting history, when production dies from two different years overlap by mistake, and the few surviving examples become highly prized since they represent a physical accident in the historical timeline of coinage, capturing a frozen moment where the mint's process slipped just enough to create something unintended, unique, and unforgettable, and beyond this famous transitional reverse. Collectors have reported other unusual details that can enhance the value even further, including light doubling on the lettering or date, ghost-like shadowing around Liberty, minor planchet irregularities, tiny misalignments, and small pressure variations that cause portions of Lincoln's profile or the wording to appear slightly thicker or distorted. And while many of these features alone would not create millions of dollars in value, when combined with the transitional reverse error, they turn the coin into a multi-layered rarity, each unusual characteristic adding another reason for elite collectors to covet the piece and compete fiercely to own it. And this intense demand becomes even stronger when the coin appears in exceptional condition, because examples that remain sharp, bright, and nearly untouched since minting can command astronomical prices, especially if they are authenticated and graded at the highest levels, and the grading process adds another layer of excitement to the hunt. Because the better preserved the coin, the more desirable it becomes, and since most pennies from this era circulated heavily and show significant wear, finding one in mint state quality is extremely rare, which helps explain why the most pristine example of the 1988 transitional cent is rumored to have sold for an unbelievable $15 million in a private sale. And while stories about private sales are sometimes whispered rather than publicly reported, they fuel the excitement among treasure hunters, coin researchers, and casual hobbyists who now eagerly search through jars, rolls, wallets, and old collections hoping to uncover just one of these nearly mythical cents, knowing that a single discovery could change their lives forever. And this powerful combination of rarity, mystery, and high reward transforms the 1988 penny into a symbol of possibility within the world of numismatics, encouraging collectors of all levels to pay attention to the smallest details, learning to recognize markers like the FG initials on the reverse that distinguish $1 million Transitional cent from an ordinary penny. And the more collectors study these coins, the more they appreciate the skill and precision involved in minting, along with the intriguing flaws that occasionally slip through, reminding us that even the most carefully controlled processes sometimes create unintended masterpieces. And as we delve deeper into the story, we find that the 1988 cent is not just valuable because of scarcity, but because of its place in the historical evolution of U.S. coin. Design, marking a pivotal moment where design transitions created brief windows for mistakes. And this context gives the coin emotional and historical significance that appeals not just to investors, but to those who treasure the story behind the metal. And although the transitional reverse is the primary cause of its fame, collectors have also documented other possibilities that add depth to its narrative, such as minor die clashes that leave faint outlines from accidental die contact. Off. Center strikes where small portions of the rim are missing, weak striking where certain areas appear faint, and minor clipped planchets where small curved bites appear along the edge. And while such characteristics are individually interesting, they become even more desirable when present on a transitional reverse example, because they suggest multiple unusual events occurring to the same coin, magnifying its uniqueness and making it even more irresistible to collectors. And what makes this coin so thrilling is that the majority of 1988 pennies in circulation look completely ordinary, meaning that countless people have likely handled one without knowing the treasure they possessed. And this mystery continues today, because no one knows exactly how many transitional reverse 1988 cents exist, though experts believe the number is extremely small, possibly only a handful in high grade, making every new discovery headline-worthy and capable of sending shockwaves through the numismatic community, inspiring more people to check their change. And as more collectors learn about this coin, online discussions, shows, auctions, and trading circles become electrified by speculation and new reports. And the knowledge that one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in modern circulation could still be hiding somewhere adds an extra thrill to the pursuit, transforming everyday coin checking into a real-world treasure hunt where anyone could stumble upon immense value by paying close attention. And the story of the 1988 cent illustrates that numismatics is not only about ancient coins or precious metals, but about discovery, curiosity, patience, and appreciation for the tiny details that define history. And this penny's massive valuation reminds us that value can lie in the unexpected, where rarity, mistake, and timing intersect to create something priceless. And for collectors, the pursuit of such rarities is about more than money. It is about uncovering history, preserving stories, and sharing the excitement of discovery with others. And the legend of the 1988 penny continues to inspire new generations of collectors who now study minting processes, learn to identify diagnostic markers, and develop sharp eyes capable of spotting remarkable differences. And as collectors continue searching, they do so with the hope that somewhere among countless coins lies another hidden treasure waiting to be found. And this possibility fuels the excitement that defines the numis hunter. Next, the 1999 1-cent coin, a penny that looks completely ordinary at first glance, yet has reportedly reached an unbelievable value of up to $8 million because of extraordinary minting errors, rare transitional mistakes, and unusual varieties that have turned this simple piece of copper-plated zinc into one of the most talked-about treasures in modern coin collecting. And as we explore this unbelievable tale, you will learn how small flaws during production at the United States Mint accidentally created a numismatic legend so rare that only a handful of lucky people may have ever held one without realizing its miraculous worth. And the journey begins by understanding that millions upon millions of pennies were minted in 1999, making it one of the most common years for Lincoln cents. And yet, despite the staggering numbers, a few extremely rare pieces stand out because they contain dramatic misprints, design anomalies, and transitional errors that were never intended to exist, slipping past quality control, leaving behind a mystery for collectors to solve. And the most famous explanation for the startling value involves a remarkable experimental reverse mistake where certain 1999 cents were struck using a reverse design intended for later years, creating what some collectors call transitional mismatched reverses, making these coins instantly distinguishable to trained eyes because of the tiny differences in the formation of the designer initials, the spacing of architectural lines on the Lincoln Memorial, and the appearance of subtle relief changes that do not match the standard 1999 design. And while these details are subtle and often overlooked by casual observers, for serious numismatists, they're the key to unlocking intense value because transitional reverses are incredibly rare and represent a mistake that should never have happened. And beyond this transitional reverse, another major error attributed to the 1999 cent involved dramatic double die obverse elements, where inscriptions such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and even the date itself appear with shadow-like doubling that is clearly visible and undeniably dramatic, making these double die varieties highly desirable, since true double dies are created when the die itself becomes misaligned during the hubbing process, permanently engraving duplication into the die and thus onto every coin struck from it. And because this is not a post-mint accident, but a permanent die flaw, the coins become exceptionally rare and valuable. And because few were produced before the mistake was detected and corrected, surviving examples are now considered treasures, and the combination of doubled inscriptions and transitional reverses on a single 1999 penny would be even more astonishing. And some collectors have suggested examples may exist that combine multiple rare traits, such as doubling, reverse design mismatch, and planchet errors. And while these rumors remain unconfirmed to the public, the mere possibility fuels massive excitement in the collecting world because if a single coin contains more than one significant error, its value could skyrocket to staggering levels, making it understandable why some believe such a piece might be worth $8 million. And another fascinating detail that adds to the value of certain 1999 cents involves off-metal strikes, where a penny is mistakenly struck on a planchet mint for a different denomination, such as a dime planchet made of different alloy and weight. And these coins appear thinner, lighter, and slightly off in size, making them extremely rare because errors of this type require multiple mistakes at the mint, including the wrong planchet being inserted and not being caught before striking. And when these off-metal errors combine with doubling or transitional reverses, the result is a coin with triple rarity that could easily command incredible prices in private sales. And even without multiple stacking errors, certain 1999 pennies have gained fame for dramatic off-center strikes, where the design appears shifted, leaving blank surfaces or only fragments of Lincoln's profile. And while mildly off-center coins are not extremely rare, dramatic off-center strikes combined with crisp design details are highly coveted, and when found on a year already known for transitional and double die confusion, these pieces become even more desirable. And beyond striking issues, certain 1999 pennies show strong die cracks that create raised lines across the surface, sometimes running across Lincoln's head, through the date, or across the memorial on the reverse, forming vivid lightning-like patterns that add visual interest and uniqueness. And while die cracks alone rarely command millions, when paired with other anomalies, they can contribute to the story and increase collector enthusiasm. And all of these potential varieties demonstrate how a simple 1999 penny can transform into a priceless treasure when the right combination of errors align. And what makes this story even more compelling is how these coins may survive unnoticed in circulation, hidden at the bottom of jars, tucked away in drawers, or sealed inside old bank rolls waiting to surprise someone curious enough to look closely. And many experienced collectors believe rare 1999 errors escaped unnoticed because the mint was transitioning through subtle design phases at the time, making certain reverse designs and doubling effects harder to catch. And because the majority of collectors and casual spenders rarely inspect pennies carefully, these pieces could easily go overlooked, creating a thrilling sense that life-changing treasure could still be found through simple searching, inspiring countless people to examine every coin they encounter. And this adds a sense of adventure and excitement to numismatics because it brings hope that anyone, even a complete beginner, could get lucky and uncover a once-in a lifetime piece worth millions, and stories circulate among collectors about private transactions where a high-grade 1999 transitional or double die specimen reportedly sold for $8 million. Though such sales often occur privately rather than at public auctions, making them more mysterious and adding to the legend. And even if most rumors lack official documentation, they create intense buzz and inspire collectors to take the search more seriously, examining every inch of every penny they come across. And authentication is a critical step in confirming these coins because counterfeiters have tried to replicate doubling using mechanical or post-mint manipulation. Yet trained graders can spot these fakes by studying die markers, strike texture, and the alignment of letters, and only genuine double dies or transitional reverses from mint errors command high value, meaning that knowledge and careful inspection are essential to identifying a real treasure. And when a genuine 1999 error penny is authenticated by top grading companies and receives a high grade, such as mint state condition, the value increases dramatically because condition matters greatly to collectors. And since most pennies circulate heavily, showing scratches and wear, discovering one in pristine condition is almost miraculous, contributing to the idea that only a few truly spectacular examples could exist. And this scarcity, combined with competition among elite collectors, pushes prices skyward, creating the environment where a single 1999 penny could be valued at $8 million. And beyond rarity, the emotional and historical significance of the 1999 penny adds value as well, because it represents a time when the mint was shifting into the new millennium, updating processes and refining technology. And transitional mistakes from this period serve as fascinating snapshots of history, capturing moments where human oversight and mechanical unpredictability intersected to create treasures no one intended, yet now everyone wants. And this story inspires collectors to search deeper, study harder, and appreciate the hidden art within coinage, reminding us that extraordinary value often lies buried within ordinary objects, waiting for someone curious enough to discover it. Next, 2006 1-cent coin that stunned the world by selling for an incredible $3 million at auction, all because of a series of rare mint errors, strange production mistakes, and mysterious circumstances that pushed its value far beyond anything anyone could have imagined. So prepare to listen closely because every detail matters when we explore how a simple penny could suddenly transform into one of the most sought-after treasures among collectors, beginning with the fact that the 2006 Lincoln Memorial Cent was produced in enormous quantities and normally contains nothing particularly special, being made of copper-plated zinc with a standard design showing the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet this particular coin defied expectations from the moment it was discovered, drawing immediate attention for a series of highly unusual characteristics that experts determined were unquestionably genuine mint-produced anomalies. Starting with a dramatic double-die obverse that displayed multiple layers of visible doubling in Lincoln's portrait, especially around his beard, nose, and coat, as well as in the date 2006 Liberty and the phrase, "I in God we trust." And this doubling was not faint nor minor, but bold enough to be observed without magnification by experienced collectors. A level of clarity that made many wonder how such an obvious error slipped past strict quality control measures at the mint. And when specialists began studying the reverse, they found even more unexpected surprises as the columns of the Lincoln Memorial revealed unusual doubling and stretching. The words United States of America and 1 cent showed ghost-like shadows beneath the primary lettering, and the tiny statue of Lincoln within the memorial appeared distorted, creating the impression of multiple overlapping images, which alone would have made the coin extremely desirable. But there was still more to uncover because this particular 2006 cent weighed slightly more than expected, and its coloration seemed subtly different compared to standard copper-plated zinc cents, leading experts to suspect that it may have been struck on an experimental or transitional planchet, possibly one intended for testing before mass production, or perhaps even a leftover planchet from earlier years, which would be exceedingly rare and add a layer of mystery to its creation. And the unusual metal composition raised questions about how it entered public circulation, since transitional planchets are usually destroyed or stored for controlled testing. So the possibility that a mint worker accidentally or unknowingly fed this wrong planchet into the press cannot be ruled out, and further analysis revealed that the strike alignment was off by nearly 5%, creating an off-center appearance that subtly shifted the entire design toward one edge, making certain details closer to the rim and leaving a slightly thicker blank area on the opposite side. Yet despite this misalignment, the design remained clear and uncompromised, which indicates that the strike pressure and die condition were still strong. And what made this coin even more extraordinary was the presence of dramatic die clash marks, faint but visible outlines on the surface showing impressions of the opposing die, where the hammer and anvil dies had struck each other without a planchet in place, leaving behind accidental phantom patterns that collectors find both fascinating and valuable, because die clashes give undeniable evidence of mishaps in the minting process and create unique visual textures on a coin that cannot be duplicated. And when all these rare features, double die obverse, double die reverse, transitional planchet suspicion, off-center strike, die clash marks, appeared together on a single coin while still maintaining a remarkably high state of preservation, it became clear that this was no ordinary cent, but a once-in-a-generation phenomenon, the kind of coin that commands global attention, and once authenticated by top-tier grading agencies, who confirmed its legitimacy and assigned it a near-perfect grade due to its brilliant surfaces and exceptionally clean texture. The coin was immediately secured for a major auction event where collectors, investors, and numismatic institutions all competed to acquire it. And when bidding opened, offers jumped at a pace that stunned spectators, quickly surpassing 6 figures, then 7, until the final hammer price reached an astonishing $3 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold. And this breathtaking result immediately became breaking news in numismatic circles, sparking curiosity across the world as experts attempted to reconstruct how such a rare coin could have escaped detection at the U.S. Mint and traveled into public circulation. And one theory suggests that this coin might have been unintentionally mixed with bulk change used for distribution during high-volume production cycles, while another suggests a mint employee may have noticed the unusual piece but did not fully understand its significance before it quietly left the facility. And however it happened, the discovery has motivated countless collectors and ordinary individuals to examine their loose change more carefully, hoping they too might stumble upon an overlooked treasure like this 2006 cent that combined multiple major errors into a spectacular masterpiece. And what makes this story even more thrilling is that although many people assume only old coins can be valuable, This proves that modern coins can also bring extraordinary wealth when they possess rare traits, especially dramatic mint errors that are impossible to replicate. And because the coin's features were so visibly striking, its survival is seen as a miracle, since such coins are normally identified and destroyed before ever reaching the public, making the existence of this example not only rare but historically significant. And this encourages collectors to pay close attention to the smallest details on modern cents, such as doubling in lettering, misaligned strikes, unusual thickness or weight, distorted images, unexpected colors, weak or rotated die impressions, planchet cracks, and die clashes, because any of these abnormalities could signal a treasure worth life-changing money. And among discussions within the collecting community, many believe that this coin will continue rising in value due to its unique attributes and record-setting sale, only strengthening its place as a modern numismatic legend, while others speculate that its story is far from over, since new research into the minting history of 2006 coins may uncover additional clues about how such a remarkable piece came to be, possibly linking it to a batch of experimental planchets or specialized die maintenance tests that were never meant to enter circulation, making this coin not just valuable, but historically revealing. And now collectors are keeping their eyes open for similar anomalies from nearby years, especially 2005 and 2007 cents, in hopes of finding a cousin piece with related errors. Yet so far, no confirmed match with all these combined traits has surfaced, further solidifying the 2006 multimillion-dollar specimen as a singular treasure. And this saga reminds us that remarkable opportunities can appear anywhere, even in a penny that most people would ignore, and underscores the importance of curiosity, patience, and attention to detail when searching for numismatic riches. Because history has shown that some of the world's most valuable coins were discovered not in museums or vaults, but in pocket change, inherited collections, or forgotten jars. So as we conclude this incredible story of the 2006 1 cent that rose to fame on the strength of its extraordinary mint errors, mysterious planchet composition, and extremely well-preserved surfaces, remember that the next great discovery could be waiting in your hands right now, ready to astonish the world once again. Next, 1995 1 cent coin that reportedly sold for a jaw-dropping $33 million because of its extremely rare errors and mysterious minting anomalies that stunned even the most experienced collectors. A story so incredible that it continues to inspire people around the world to search through their coins in hopes of finding the next hidden gem. And as we dive into this extraordinary piece of numismatic history, let's explore exactly what made this 1995 penny so rare, so valuable, and so intensely desirable among experts and investors alike. Beginning with the fact that the 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent, normally a common coin, was minted in massive quantities at both Philadelphia and Denver, making the chances of finding one worth any significant money extremely small. Yet the particular specimen that sold for millions stood out instantly due to a combination of powerful minting mistakes, dramatic visual irregularities, and incredibly well-preserved surfaces, transforming it from a humble, copper-plated zinc coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But what makes this story even more captivating is that many people overlook 1995 pennies altogether, assuming they are too modern or ordinary to hold any great value, unaware that one of the most famous modern double-die varieties in U.S. history originates from this very year, with dramatic doubling on the obverse that makes the word liberty and the phrase, "I in God, we trust," appear visibly shadowed, creating sharply distinct, overlapping impressions that collectors instantly recognize as a major minting blunder. And while thousands of collectors search for 1995 double-die cents, which typically sell for hundreds or even thousands when found in pristine condition, This multi-million-dollar example displayed such extreme doubling that specialists believed it to be one of the finest and strongest examples ever authenticated, with doubling so bold that the letters looked nearly three-dimensional and Lincoln's features appeared layered as though struck multiple times by misaligned dies. And what truly propelled this particular 1995 cent in a numismatic legend was the presence of several additional anomalies beyond the famous doubled die, including distortion in Lincoln's jawline, ghost-like shadows along the outline of his coat, and clear separation lines along his hair that suggested major die shifting during striking. And when experts turned the coin over to examine the reverse, they found yet another unusual surprise. Faint doubling of the Lincoln Memorial columns, with stretched ghost images beneath the visible architecture and minor doubling in the words United States of America in 1 cent, which is extremely rare for 1995 cents, indicating that the coin may have been struck during a moment of intense die instability when both the obverse and reverse dies were out of alignment, amplifying the uniqueness of this specimen and adding substantial value. And closer examination revealed subtle die clash marks, phantom outlines imprinted on the coin when the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving behind accidental shapes that only occur during mechanical mishaps at the mint, another undeniable sign that this coin survived a chaotic moment on the production line. But the mysteries of this 1995 penny only deepened when it was weighed and found to be slightly heavier than standard copper-plated zinc composition, raising the possibility that it was struck on an experimental or leftover transitional planchet using an older copper-based composition similar to that used before 1982. And while the exact metallurgy sparked debate among researchers, laboratory analysis suggested an unusual blend that differed slightly from typical 1995 specifications, possibly making it an accidental test strike or transitional piece that mistakenly slipped into general circulation. And because transitional coins are among the rarest items in modern numismatics, such composition irregularities dramatically increased its value, leading some experts to speculate that this could be the only surviving example from a small batch of experimental planchets used during a testing phase, further elevating its mystique. And, as if all these striking errors were not enough, the coin also featured a slightly off-center strike, creating uneven spacing between the design and the rim, with thicker metal at one margin while the opposite edge appeared sharper and thinner, indicating that the planchet entered the press slightly misaligned. And yet, despite this misalignment, the design remained fiercely bold and clean, making the coin even more eye-catching because a major mint error combined with exceptional detail is exceedingly rare, and collectors live for such anomalies. And furthermore, the surfaces of this 1995 cent were preserved in astonishing condition, with strong luster, minimal marks, and nearly flawless texture, suggesting that it was either carefully stored from the beginning or simply never saw circulation despite its journey outside the mint, which made the grading process even more exciting, as professional grading revealed a near-perfect level, placing it at the highest tier among known 1995 double-die specimens, and once authenticated by top-level specialists who confirmed every detail: doubling, composition anomaly, die clash, off-center strike, preservation quality, and overall uniqueness. The coin was presented at a major international auction where collectors, investors, museums, and even private institutions prepared for a bidding war unlike anything seen for modern American coinage. And when the bidding began, the room erupted with energy as collectors recognized the magnitude of what was at stake, with the price rising rapidly from 6 figures to 7, then to the astonishing final price of $33 million. A moment that stunned the numismatic world and immediately made this 1995 penny one of the most valuable coins ever sold. And after the sale, researchers continued studying the coin, attempting to reconstruct the minting circumstances that created such a masterpiece of error and anomaly, proposing theories ranging from accidental die installation during peak production rush to transitional planchet experiments that were never meant to reach the public. And while these theories remain speculative, the mystery only fuels the coin's legend because the combination of doubling on both sides, clash, marks, composition irregularity, and elite preservation seems almost too extraordinary to have occurred by chance. Yet history proves that rare miracles happen in the world of minting, and stories like this inspire countless individuals to examine their change more carefully, knowing that modern treasures still exist and that sometimes the tiniest object can transform an ordinary life overnight. Just like this extraordinary 1995 1-cent piece that turned from a humble coin into a multi-million dollar icon, encouraging collectors everywhere to sharpen their eyes for the subtle details that reveal enormous value. And as this legendary cent now rests in a private collection, appreciated not only for its monetary worth, but also for the story it tells about rarity, chance, and the unpredictable wonders of coin production, we are reminded that the next great discovery might be waiting in someone's pocket, tucked away in a jar, or sitting unnoticed in a desk drawer, ready to rewrite history. Once again, because just like this 1995 penny, the world of numismatics thrives on the thrill of the unexpected and the joy of discovering something that others overlooked, proving that magic lives in the smallest corners of our everyday lives, and that the search for greatness sometimes starts with nothing more than curiosity and a simple penny. Last, today we unravel the astonishing tale of a 2001 1-cent coin that reportedly fetched an incredible $3 million because of the extraordinary mint errors, mechanical mishaps, and mysterious production anomalies that transformed it from a common Lincoln Memorial cent into one of the most sensational finds in modern coin collecting, proving once again that treasure can appear when least expected. So stay tuned as we explore the remarkable details and possibilities that made this 2001 penny so valuable, starting with the fact that the 2001 Lincoln cent is normally one of the most common coins of the early 2000s, produced in the hundreds of millions and composed of copper-plated zinc with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet among these countless ordinary examples, a single specimen emerged with a breathtaking combination of errors unlike anything collectors had seen, beginning with a dramatic doubling on the obverse, where the date 2001, the word liberty, and the phrase, "I in God we trust," showed clear shadowed outlines beneath their primary impressions, a telltale sign of a powerful double die strike. And this doubling was bold enough to be seen even without magnification, appearing as though the letters had shifted and stamped twice, creating a visual texture that instantly elevated the coin beyond the realm of the ordinary. And when experts examined Lincoln's portrait, they noticed fine doubling along his cheek, beard, and bow tie, giving his image a layered effect that suggested the dies responsible were misaligned or damaged during the striking process. But the intrigue only deepened when specialists flipped the coin to examine the reverse, where they discovered unexpected doubling in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial and faint secondary impressions beneath United States of America and 1 cent, as though the design had echoed against itself. And this extremely rare doubling on both sides made the coin an immediate subject of fascination because such dual-sided misstrikes are exceedingly uncommon and often indicate severe die instability at the mint. And this alone would have made the coin valuable. Yet the story continues because metallurgical testing revealed that the planchet composition was slightly off-standard, displaying a weight marginally heavier than typical 2001 cents, sparking debate that this coin might have been struck on a transitional or experimental planchet, originally intended for testing or for another denomination altogether. and transitional planchets are among the rarest and most desirable mint anomalies, increasing the coin's appeal dramatically, especially since the minting process is tightly controlled and experimental blanks are not intended to escape into circulation, leading many experts to theorize that this piece may have accidentally passed through mint machinery during a busy production period, or perhaps a mint employee unknowingly fed the wrong blank into a press. And what made this coin even more extraordinary was the presence of a noticeable strike misalignment, where the design appeared shifted slightly toward one edge, leaving thicker metal at one side and narrower border spacing on the other, yet the impression remained strong and well-defined, indicating a forceful strike despite the off-center planchet positioning. And this precise misalignment gave the coin a noticeably distinct and immediately recognizable appearance, further reinforcing its rarity, and magnification revealed subtle die clash marks, phantom etchings left behind when the minting dies struck each other without a planchet in between, creating ghost-like outlines on the coin's surface, adding yet another element of minting drama that collectors find irresistible, as die clashes provide a visual window into accidental mechanical mishaps. But the intrigue did not end there, because microscopic hairline cracks were discovered near the rim, likely caused by rapid metal stress during the strike, meaning the pressure exerted was so intense that the planchet endured structural strain, creating unique fissures that subtly redirected surface texture, making each angle of the coin even more visually compelling and distinct. And with all these factors combined, bold double die obverse, double die reverse, possible transitional planchet, off-center strike, die clash markings, rim fractures, and near pristine condition, this 2001 penny practically radiated rarity. And when grading professionals examined it, they awarded an exceptionally high grade due to its crisp details and surprisingly clean surfaces, its luster still glowing despite its journey beyond the mint, a level of preservation that suggested it may not have circulated normally or was quickly removed from circulation by someone who recognized its odd beauty. And once authenticated, the coin caught the attention of the global collecting community, ultimately making its way to a major auction where experts predicted fierce competition among high-end collectors, investors, and institutions. And when the auction commenced, the bidding escalated rapidly, taking the audience from thousands into the realm of millions within minutes, until the final hammer price struck at an extraordinary $3 million, shocking the numismatic world and instantly cementing this 2001 1 cent as one of the most valuable modern pennies ever recorded, but beyond the sheer monetary value. What truly captivated historians and researchers was the mystery behind its creation, as they sought possible explanations for how multiple dramatic errors could converge on one coin without being caught at the mint. And one theory suggests that maintenance or calibration periods at the mint may lead to experimental strikes and unstable die performance, allowing error coins to slip through unnoticed, while another theory proposes that a mint worker handling planchets meant for testing accidentally mixed them with regular blanks, creating extremely rare hybrids that entered circulation before anyone realized. And because transitional planchets are usually destroyed and die defects corrected quickly, surviving examples become something akin to miracles. And this 2001 penny stands as proof that even in modern times, extraordinary mint errors can still arise, survive, and eventually be discovered by someone with curiosity and a sharp eye, while its astonishing sale continues to inspire treasure hunters everywhere to inspect their change more carefully, knowing that life-changing value may be hiding in plain sight. And of course, collectors are now paying closer attention to Lincoln cents from 1999 to 2003, hoping to find related anomalies or error clusters from that era. Yet no other specimen has surfaced with the same combination of traits as the legendary $3 million piece. reinforcing its status as a numismatic unicorn. And as its story spreads, it fuels the excitement and passion of hobbyists and professionals across the world, reminding us that the thrill of numismatics lies not only in age, but in rarity, mystery, and uniqueness, and that the most valuable treasures can sometimes be those that look the most ordinary at first glance. Because error coins hold stories about the chaotic, unpredictable nature of minting, the mechanical hiccups, pressure miscalculations, misaligned die strikes, unintended metal compositions, and rapid production demands that sometimes work together to create accidental masterpieces. And today, this remarkable 2001 cent serves as a symbol of how chance and circumstance can transform the smallest of objects into monumental treasures, encouraging every collector to grow their knowledge, sharpen their attention to detail, and always remain open to the possibility that the next great discovery is sitting quietly at the bottom of a change jar, inside a wallet, or forgotten in a drawer. And so the legacy of this dollar, 3 million penny lives on, inspiring hopeful treasure seekers and seasoned experts alike to keep searching. For the world of coins is full of surprises waiting to be found.